Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another stream. Just going to make sure we're live on all platforms that we should be. Should be firing out to Twitch and YouTube. Looks like looks like we're good to go. So yeah, wait a few moments and then we can start. We can go through this final table, the 1K Sunday High Roller, 300K guaranteed. It's a pretty stacked final table. See Darwin, NL Profit, Tankanza should be pretty good. Little Weasel says good evening on Twitch chat. How's it going? Let me get the chat sorted. Let's do pop out chat. And let's do the same on YouTube, and then we should be good to go. Hope everyone's doing well and ready for some fun poker spots. So I guess let's just go for it. Let me change the speed. And yeah, so what we're going to do, it's really quick, so it's going at 2x speed. We're just going to have a look and see what happens. And if there's some interesting spots, we'll pause. So I think this is, this is an interesting spot straight off the bat. The guy going 3.5x in early position. I haven't seen this or seen much of this before. I think it's quite interesting. I think the big blind's now in a really horrible spot against this size. So yeah, I think we probably will see a fold. Obviously not. Yeah, I mean the big raise size, so the last thing the big blind wants to do is to play, a big pot. 172k already out there. Play a big pot out of position when he's covered by the pre-flop raiser, who's raising from the earliest possible position, so therefore has the strongest range. This player's not going to be opening that wide, right? Because they're covered by this player, covered by this player, covered by this player, covered by this player. So it's not like they, because they're first in, they get to open super wide. So I think that the ace-10 off might just be a fold, honestly, for ICM. But we see a call, and we'll just see a check call here. And we should see a check here. Let me pause it. So I think, if you run this in Pio just for chips, I think that you would see a check here a lot. Like you just have the board completely crushed, and when you block trips, and you potentially block, the big blind might flat pre with queens actually. I'm just thinking this because of it's a 15 big blind stack, a 17 big blind stack. Does he really want to 3-bet versus a 3.5x open from EP and then call it off? Probably not. So I think queen's probably just flats here. So he blocks all of that, and it's really tough for the big blind to have much here. And you don't mind, once you've got the lock on the hand here to check and allow the flush to get there, or some other floats giving them a chance to bluff the river. So I think it's pretty cool to check here. For ICM, I don't know. I think you might see a small bet here, but I think I really like check here. Okay, so we see I don't know what that is, 40% ish maybe. So yeah, I think that is kind of what it is. And then he probably just jams river, just less than pot back. And ace-10 might just make a hero fold here. If he jams. If he bets small, like half pot, I think he'll make a call. So he goes less than half pot. So I don't know this player. I don't know if you guys do. I don't know if he's a reg in these 1Ks. But he's raised 3.5x pre. He's he's bet the turn when I would have expected a check more frequently. And then he's gone for this less than 50% pot sizing on the river. It's like 42% pot. And I think at this stack depth, I don't think that is something that the solver would do. I'm not saying that it's not what people do, because they, you can it's called no limit hold'em, so he can bet whatever he likes between checking and like one big blind, sorry, and all in. So yeah, I'm not saying that he that it isn't something that he could do, but it's not something that I think the solver would do. I think it would, the smallest bet would be 50%. So I think we'll just see a call here. Yeah, and but yeah, I do think it was. I like a fold pre now, not just because we can see the hands, but like it was a 3.5x pre, and earliest position, really strong range, just not a good spot to flat ace 10 off there, I don't think. So I think that's like something just to think about, is like, what does your opponent's range look like? How big have they raised? Like what is your price? Are you getting the right price? And what are the ICM implications? And yeah, I think there were quite a few there. So all of those things, that's what I'd be thinking about when choosing whether or not I wanted to defend ace 10 off in the big blind there. Maybe it is a call and it's ace 9 off that's a fold. Interesting for a fold here. I think that as the big stack, he just gets to open that hand. Like he just gets to open super wide, I think would be good, but okay. See a raise fold there with the suited king. So now we see a raise with the king 10 suited. Swithin Francis on Twitch, how's it going? So you open with the sevens, and queen 3 will defend here. I think if the stacks were reversed, we might see a fold from queen 3 suited versus an EP open. Like if he had 100 bigs and big blind had 50 bigs, given there's an 11 big blind stack, a 13 big blind stack, and a 17 big blind stack. And we should just see a small bet here, like quarter pot, 20% pot maybe. Yep. Okay, see another raise here. And interesting to see what the big blind chooses to do, whether or not they jam or call. If he jams, I don't think ace jack suited is going to be a good call. The big blind's not going to be jamming enough hands where ace jack suited is going to be doing that well. Whereas, let's say that he'd raised from the button and ace jams, well then ace jack suited suddenly becomes a call. So yeah, does eights jam? Yeah, okay, does go for the jam. I think it's just a little bit too loose. Yeah, okay, so we do see a fold. Yeah, I think that's good. See a raise here. Let's see what. Okay, so he doesn't raise. I was just thinking that we could see what his raise size was. He made it 3.5x earlier on, so eights will just jam here, and jack 10 off will fold. Okay, king queen off opens. King 7's going to fold. 10-6. This should just be a fold. I think he's covered by the opener. Again, this guy can open a reasonable amount, but he does have, a shove stack here and two big stacks who can 3-bet. So yeah, I would fold this hand. I don't even think it's that close. Should just see a jam here maybe, but the last one of these that we did, I think we saw a lot more 3-bets off this stack size to, I think players are now 3-bet folding reasonably often. So they get to 3-bet, maybe, they get to 3-bet value hands as well. So I think that this could be a spot where he does 3-bet or he just jams. Okay. Ace 10 should just fold. Yeah. Okay, so I didn't see at the start what this player's they got the payouts right at the start, right? And we've already seen him 3.5x, and now we're seeing him min raise 7.5 off. I mean, I don't know how good this player is. If, we look at a 1K final table and we think, wow, okay, these players must be pretty good, right? But they might not be. And I think it's okay to be like, okay, well, that's two things that he's done now, which are not something that I think most players in a 1K are doing. So that might suggest that he's on the weaker side, but we don't know. If any of you guys do, then let me know. I think, okay, this is an interesting spot. So I think this player can actually 3-bet and potentially 3-bet fold for 50 bigs. NL Profit should be opening a ton of hands. We saw him fold the ace 7 off earlier on though, so maybe he's not opening that wide. But we might see a 3-bet here, and then Steve Darwin's in a horrible spot with 10 bigs. So like if you get 3-bets here, then it's I don't think it's I don't think you're loving it. I think you're always getting called, and this could be just like hands like king nine suited, which you don't really want to get into. When you've got 10 bigs, you want to have that fold equity to go along with the hand equity. So he needs to probably well, let's just see what happens. Do see a call. Okay, so I think now we might just see a jam, and then it'd be interesting to see. So does NL profit call? If not, obviously ace queen off is always going to call here. But okay, fine. Yep. King six should shove. Shout out to Vitin and Grassi for the follow. And just going to check something. Okay. Cool. Yeah, this might actually be this might be too loose actually. You can't raise call the short stacks. You're going to have to fold a lot versus the big stacks. You're raising into a guy who covers you. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think that this might be a little bit too loose. Nines will just shove, I think. Well, it does essentially shove. Put 6 bigs in there. Okay, right. So I've seen enough. I've seen enough from this player to know that he's not a reg. Like I just cut like, let's go back to the start. We're at 5 minutes 37. I want to see what this is. He at the bottom? He's not. He's at 7.3 million in earnings. I don't know, guys. We've seen 3 hands that he's played in a very, very strange way. Chris Day in the chat says, better late than never. Which tourney is this? This is the 1K High Roller Club. And yeah, we're just getting to the point where this guy, he's opened 3.5x in EP or under the gun earlier on. He then min raised 7-5 off from middle position, or it might have even been EP, and now he's flatted ace-4 off in the cutoff. I don't know this player. I mean, clearly we just saw that he was a named player, and he's got 7 million in earnings. So it's really hard for me to go like, yeah, we've seen some play here that is just not. I don't think is very good. And the guy's got 7 million in earnings. Doesn't mean 7 million in profit, of course. But we'll just leave the conversation there and recognize that, I think that these 3 plays so far are pretty poor. Diego says this ekziter guy is a sit and go reg, 6 max hypers. Okay, cool. So we see a bet and a call. Oops. Sorry about that, guys. Don't know why that popped up. And again, goes for this like really small sizing. So this is now 5 things I think he's done differently from I think a lot of these players on this final table would do. So like C Darwin or Tankanza, Bit2Easy, NL Profit. I feel like they wouldn't be taking this like quarter pot river in position line. So he's clearly trying to exploit. And yeah, not sure really how I feel about this. I mean, if the guy's like, he's just value bet an ace there, right? If the guy's not going to call with a queen, then that doesn't make sense to value bet your ace there, right? So what he's trying to do is get a queen to call, but if the queen's going to fold, then it just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I don't really know what more to say. Eight six off versus the min raise. I not convinced this is going to be a defend. I think we saw Coco Jambo fold in a similar spot earlier on. 10-6 off, obviously a kind of weaker hand. But yeah, there's a 14 big blind stack, 16 big blind stack. I think we might see a fold. He calls, and again, like I'm not sure that is really going to make that much money, but obviously I haven't run it. It's just from running some sims and having a look. But he's covered. Like, what's he really hoping for? He's going to end up stacking off with one pair a lot of the time, or putting a lot of chips in with one pair and having to fold because of the ICM pressure from these other short stacks. So I think that those kind of hands just suddenly become folds. You can't play chip EV ranges, right? But it's always tough for me to analyze these spots, right? Because I'm not, I haven't run it in the solver. I can't say 100%. And this is a guy playing 1Ks probably fairly regularly, and I think it's it's important to remain open-minded and think about why he might be doing it, but also recognizing that they're not a bot, right? They're going to make mistakes. They're not going to play like the solver. I mean, what is going on? Guess he just folds. Yeah, all right, fair enough. It's obviously not an open. I don't need to tell you that, guys. Okay, so Queen's open there and ace-6 off folded, right? So the role reversal, this guy called with 8-6 off against the big stack. Sure, this guy's going to be opening a slightly tighter range, so that factors in. We see a 3-bet here to like 175, 200. Okay, 200. And might see a call in position here. He's played pretty funky so far, so, all options are still available. I wouldn't put it past him to like jam or to make a small 4-bet or to call or to fold, honestly. Okay, he does go for the call. See a small bet, and then he just folds on the flop. Okay. And this should just be a really easy fold. So Chris in the chat says, so once you see a player show a hand like this, like the middle position 7-5 off open, I guess it's important to then factor this into his range for future hands. Yeah, he's opening a lot of hands. So like, if you're a short stack, you can jam a bit wider. If you're a big blind, you can defend more and not worry so much that he's opening really strong range. That kind of thing. JB says, I just listened to an episode of your podcast where Dr. Cardner talks about a friend who believes that 7s are more likely to hit the flop. Maybe ekziter belongs to that school of thought. Maybe. Any hand with a 7 in it just goes for the open. I just see a jam here with 5s. Looks good. Lots of fold equity. See an open. And again, so like 10-8 off. So this is even more, has to be more of a fold. Okay, the 10 and the 8 are more connected than the 10-6, and 10-8 is better than 8-6. But if you've got an 18 big blind stack opening, this range will not be that wide, right? And so 10-8 off, yes, you cover him, but I'm going to say this is a fold. And seen a couple of, so he makes a fold with 10-6, which I think was good, and then 2 calls, which I think are probably quite marginal. Against this sizing, I think he just has to call. This strikes me as a fairly good hand to triple barrel. Well, depending on what the river card is, like a king or an 8 might not be so good. But he has diamonds here, and there's no diamonds on the board, so it's not like he blocks some of the floats that will fold, like spades and hearts. So I think that's good. And yeah, he needs some bluffs, right? That are going to be somewhat unnatural. So unblockers is the way to go here, I think. Sizing wise, let's just go back a little bit. So he's got 360, 216 behind. I think, I don't know, half pot, then half pot seems like a good way to go here. And he goes a bit smaller, but that's cool. I mean, you know, I think you will see smaller bets on the final table. Like you don't want to have to put so much out there. 7 goes for the call. Queen 10 suited might just flat. I think to this line, and when ace jack checks pretty quickly, 7s could potentially value bet. But like, okay, he's getting value from ace high, maybe from like 6s and 4s and like ace 5. But he's also got to think about 8s, 9s, 10s, jacks, queens that could play in exactly the same way. Maybe those those stronger hands do go for a bet on the river, so maybe they're discounted a little bit. But I think this probably quite close between bet and check. It's probably indifferent actually, so can't really make too much of a mistake. He goes for this small value bet size again. Like I mean, it's amazing to see. It just, we've seen 3 river bet sizes. To be fair, like 2 came from this player, so I'm not really reading too much into that. But obviously, NL Profit is a well-known player, and he's going for this small size, right? Like 3rd pot in position, and I don't know. Maybe on these boards you do get to bet 3rd pot in position, but is he just going for the exploit? He thinks that Anjay's just gonna be forced to call too wide. I'm not sure, but also he's gonna run into 8s, 9s, 10s some of the time, and maybe Anjay does check a king sometimes. So who knows? Okay, ace king off is going to raise. Ace jack then have to fold, as will ace 10 suited. Ace 9 suited going to open. Jack 9 off. I think for these positions probably can flat. I would fold. Oh, he just jams. Wow. Okay, fair enough. 3s goes for the open, and he gets to open a really wide range. He does have players who can jam. He obviously can call this, but he can't call 20 and 21. Woody on Twitch saying hello. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. Kukaino says hello. I'm kind of new here and in poker game. Can you tell me what is the name of the video free strategy on YouTube? So you can access my free strategy videos on YouTube. Just type in MTT Poker School into YouTube, and you get access to all the free videos on there. Okay, so you should just see a fold. I mean, who knows though with this player. Okay, he does make the fold, and we might. Do we see a shove here? We might see a shove. No. Okay, probably just a little bit too much. 3 betting from the suited aces. I think you're going to see this quite a lot on final tables. This should just be a fold. Well, this 3-bet size is so small though. Look at it, 99,000, like 2x. Yikes! I still don't love it though. But I almost feel like you're going to way overfold if you do that. But this is really powerful, like leverage. Okay, he does make the call. Yeah, I mean, I think he probably just has to. And now just jams it in. I think this is good. I think there's plenty of, if he makes a small bet, there's plenty of turn cards that become awkward to play. And if you're in the imposition's shoes, do you have much to call here? You might be forced to call with some ace highs with backdoor draws. Like ace 10 of hearts, ace 10 of spades. You can't have that. Ace 10 of clubs, stuff like that. So I think that this is probably fine. Eights goes for the 3x, but I mean, this is just a shove. He's just leaving himself 3 bigs, I guess, if 2 big stacks collide and he can fold. But yeah, that's basically what's going on there. Ace queen goes for the raise, and I think everyone should fold it. This raise shouldn't be too light. I don't think, and then this isn't going to do too well against this range. So I think in theory it's supposed to be a fold, but you know, we've seen a lot of continues. Okay, we do see a fold this time. We've seen a lot of continues that I don't think the solver would do, but you know, who knows. Okay, see another less than all in raise. See a raise here with ace jack. Fives I think just has to fold here. I don't think it's profitable jam. He does fold. King queen flats though, I think that's fine. Small bet probably. This kind of board. So 21 bigs, 31 bigs. So you might see, generally speaking, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. MP versus big blind on a really dry king high board. Min bet or quarter pot, somewhere in between those two bet sizes on this kind of board. But then given that he's covered, maybe he's supposed, he's maybe supposed to check more frequently. But I think we're just going to see a small bet here very frequently. And we see a check raise, and he can get called by under pairs and by king jack suited, king 10 suited, maybe king 9 suited, stuff like that, ace 7 suited, and then maybe some like ace queen with a backdoor flush draw, that kind of thing. I think min raise probably not good enough to jam this hand, I would say. Dustbin Daily saying howdy, how's it going? Okay, let's run this one in HRC. Okay, so for anyone's not used HRC before, this is the first page you get. I'm going to make sure we choose ICM mode for final table. We're going to put the payouts in here so you can see them at the top of the screen. I'm just going to do that quickly. I'm sure this is really riveting Twitch streaming for you guys. But some of you might not have done this before. Want to see how you're supposed to run these spots in HRC, so let's do that. And then we'll put the stack sizes in, starting from this player here. So 17, 20, 48, 38, 89. I think this guy had 14 at the start of the hand, 39, 38.5, and 10.8. And okay, and so Chris, let's have a look here. Chris says, I would think this is horrible. If C. Darwin had already folded, but unsure what happens with him in the big blind, I guess it's even worse. Isn't the Monte Carlo version more accurate? It is, but it takes longer, so we're going to use this basic mode. I think that's it. Let's run. I'm going to mute my mic 1 second. And unmute it. Okay, so let's have a look at this 14 big blind shove. King 10 off right on the border then. I think that given that he's probably going to want to min raise the top, excuse me guys, given he's going to want to min raise the top to induce, I think that then these hands would drop out or they would become better min raise folds. So I think this it's a 1K buy-in tournament. This shove is worth $11. Like, I don't know, it seems pretty marginal. Sure, he might not feel like he's going to get too many, like, he needs to take every spot, but like, I don't, from some of the play we've seen so far, like, might not be the toughest 1K we've ever seen, but it's yeah, I think it's pretty interesting. Let me just highlight what happens if we take out, say, like, I don't know, this range and run it again. I'm going to mute the mic, guys, so you don't have to listen to my computer take off. Okay, so I've taken out the top, and so you can now see, I mean, these calling ranges will get wider because of that, because it doesn't include the top hands. But you can see now that king 10 off, king jack off, queen jack off, they all drop out. All of these hands suddenly become unprofitable. So, like, sure, if he's going to jam his entire range for 14 big blinds, he can include king 10 off for a net profit of $11. But I think that if he wants to min raise some the top of his range to induce, then he's going to have to start. No, he can't jam these hands. You can see that. I'm literally just proved that. I mean, this is just obviously this is just yeah. I mean, I've proved that like if he jams these hands, they're not winning money. If he's not including the top of his range, obviously, we would want to look at post flop stuff to like see where he gets to min raise instead. Is it king jack? Is it king 10? Like, but you know, when I first saw this hand, I thought this is a good spot to just min raise. I don't think we'll be making too much money for jamming. This is Darwin's calling range. You can see fives just in there. Let's unlock it and run it again. I'll turn my mic off. So not too much different, but against a range that included aces, kings, queens, and ace king suited, you can see that fives now becomes a break-even call. So it's actually better if he's, you know, not jamming wide. So let's see if fives does make the call. Again, it's like you know, this is kind of break even. This is probably kind of break even if we think that this guy's, you know, shoving these kind of hands and then also not aces, kings, queens, ace king suited. Does make the fold. Question here then from Dustbin Daily says, what was his starting stack, big blind stack there? So big blind had 10.8 bigs and the shover had 14. And then he was like 38 and 37 here. I think we should see a jam here and this should just be a very easy fold. Raising a call, I think. Daniel P. Harris says, any free poker tools you recommend? Definitely Equilab, that's free. What else is free? You can get 2-week free trials of some software. I think HRC, or the software I just used, you can get I think a 2-week free trial. So that's definitely worth checking out before you buy. Any other free tools? I mean, if you're looking for like free like conversation, then my Facebook group would probably be the best, you know, the best free resource to access after, or no, maybe even before Equilab and your free 2-week trial of HRC. So there should be a link below to the group. Let me just see if this command works. It does. Okay, yeah. So you've got the group there. Learn MTT strategies and systems to win. It's in the chat. So just click that link to join, and come and join the tournament poker chat. Okay, let's go back to this. He leads here. Okay, so I haven't run this, and I haven't looked to see if on monotone boards, when the big blind covers the button open, whether or not he gets to do some more leading. Maybe he does, but I mean, I just feel like we're not getting too much value from this player's play so far, so I don't even need to spend too long talking about it. Evening Evolution Retro Gaming, how's it going, Lee? Nice to see you again. Nines here, could 3-bet, could just flat, of course. 4-3 off should just always fold, I think. Seems a bit loose. I mean, he does cover everybody, but I mean, again, like this isn't going to be that wide with 1, 2, 3 shove stacks and 2 guys who cover him. So, yeah, seems a bit loose. So Dustin Daly said he folded ace jack off on the button. Who folded ace jack? Let's have a look at this. I missed that one. Where did... can't see an ace jack. I don't know where that was. Maybe I missed it. Or maybe I was looking at the chat. I just saw this half pot-ish lead. Let's fast forward a bit. We saw all of this. This is where we got to. Might see a bet here. To see as a check. Oops. Okay. I feel like I'm missing the this ace jack fold. I don't know where I've seen the yeah. I don't know where this ace jack fold is that you guys are talking about. It's the hand after the half pot. Oh really? Right. Oh, here we go then. Yeah, well done. Let's have a look at this. Okay, yeah. So given he's played like really crazy, then yeah. I mean, he's he just wants to get himself into spots where he's covering people and put them under enormous amounts of pressure. Maybe that's the way that he plays. And when he faces an open here from the big stack, he's just like, do you know what? I don't want to play this hand out position. I think 3-bet folding would be quite nice with this hand. But well done, guys, for picking up on that. I completely missed it. We already saw this one. Okay, we got to this point. Limp bet. Okay. Question in the chat really quickly before we talk about Darwin's aces. Trying to work on my open bet sizes pre-flop. What sizes for what chip stacks do you recommend? So for 75 big blinds plus, I like to make it 2.5. I guess if you're playing really deep, like 125 bigs or maybe more, you could go up to 2.75 or 3x. 40 to 60, I like 2.3. And then under 30, I like 2x, just the min raise. You can go 2.1, 2.2, between 25 and 50 if you want to. They're not the sizes that I would go, but I don't think there's too much wrong with that. One thing to think about though is the smaller you raise, the more hands you get to play. So if you think about the opposite of that, if you make it 10x from early position, you're going to have to open a really, really narrow, tight range of hands. But if you min raise, you get to open a lot more hands. And the reason for that is that you're going to end up losing way more chips than you need to when you face a 3-bet. And and you're sort of limiting the number of hands that can continue versus you. So you end up, okay, you might steal the pot a lot, but it's costing you a lot to steal the pot, right? I think we'll see the magic 4 bigger blind jam here. Okay, 3.5. We're close. And I think this is a fold. Okay. This strikes me as a reasonable hand to 3-bet, especially against the big stack who should be opening a ton of hands here. Goes for the flat though. I'm not sure how often you want to flat in this spot, because now you're just in a multi-way pot, but you might just be heads up, and then you're got 1, 2, 3, 4 stacks who are shorter than you. And you get into situations like this where you end up having top pair and you end up losing a reasonable amount here, I would imagine. Okay. So obviously this bet's fine and this call's fine. I'm just trying to think about this queen jack hand. Okay, you've got a draw, but it's a pretty weak draw, and even if you get there, you might still have the worst hand. You could have aces, you can have tens, you can have ace 10, you can have king 10, you can have, kings. So I don't think that's a great call multi-way. Yeah, let me know in the comments, guys, in the chat, what you think. But yeah. Jack 10 just instantly checks back. I know we've got it set to 2x speed, but that's a pretty interesting check. Ace 9 now might just go for a check call. Or lead. Who knows? Queen Jack goes for the bluff, I presume. Has to be, right? I don't think that's not a value bet on the river. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, I think this is a bluff. So interesting line. Ace 9 does fold though, but he started the hand with 31 bigs, now he's only got 25, right? And there just aren't too many good things that can happen. Ace Jack opens. This looks like his best open so far, in my opinion. Maybe a raise fold from the Ace 10 here. Looks good. 9-8 should definitely fold. Yeah. Might see a 3-bet here. Yeah, we do. Very small 3-bet. This is really nice because he gets to leverage this, and this guy doesn't really want to. Gets to leverage this stack size, And also, this guy doesn't really want to flat and play a hand out position against the big stack when there's an 11 big blind stack and a 7.6 big blind stack and a 13 and a 15. So looks pretty good to me. 4 should be a fold. Ace-8 can jam. Everyone else will fold. Okay, he does go 4x this time. We should have guessed it. Yeah, I think Ace-4 suited is going to be a fold here. Like, again, this guy's got 25 bigs. He's not going to be opening that wide into loads of players who can shove, and then 2 guys who cover him as well. So I think that's a fold. So every time I feel like this guy's just like gone back to playing, playing how you might expect. He then flats Jack-2 suited in the small blind. I think we just need to not comment on his play anymore. Should just be cool. Might even raise here versus this small size. But I think call is quite common. Okay, does go for the raise. We should see a call. And now it should just go check, check, I imagine. Nope, he goes for the block. Oh, it's a tough spot now for Jags, whatever, however you say it. So what hand lead calls the turn and then just leads the river? Like that too is like a blank, isn't it? Right? I mean, wouldn't ever expect him to have Jack Deuce or any hand that connects with that card. So I think that like maybe ekziter is actually, this is quite a nice river line because he's going to end up getting so many more crying calls because that river is so bizarre and so unconnected to either player's range. So yeah, I think we might just see a call here. If he's can expect like a 9 or missed hearts or something like that, I guess. And this player's got a decent number of 9x in his range, and the flop went check, check. Yeah, that was a weird hand. From but I quite liked him recognizing that it was a good card because it shouldn't ever hit him, right? So it's just going to look way more bluffy. But yeah, tens jams then. And we're just going to see some folds. King Jack suited will open, face a 3-bet, probably call in position. Goes for a 5x, quite a big 3-bet. Yeah, so like versus that sizing, I think the fold is good. It looks like he does try to get away from playing against players who have more chips than him. So I think that could be, maybe his game plan. This will be an interesting one to run. Okay, let's. I'm gonna run this, and I want you guys to comment in the chat. What are you doing with Ace Queen suited here? Are you getting it in, or are you folding? If I just give you those 2 options, and I'm gonna run it, and we'll find out. So yeah, give you guys some time to do that, and I'm going to turn my mic off so you don't have to listen to HRC. Okay, let's look at some of these answers then. We've got shove, we've got push it, we've got folding, we've got you've got those clubs on lock. Okay, so here's the answer. I mean, okay, I did just do a basic hand and have him shove, but I don't think he's going to be making it this size with anything. He's going to end up folding. So this is the result. Ace Queen suited is a fold. It's going to lose you $3.63. So yeah, you can call it off in later position, but there are just too many other players to in the hand for you to want to get it in here. But let's see what Tankanza does. He jams. Yeah, don't think it. It's again it's going to come down to Tankanza is a very, very good player. So you know, it's really tough for me to go like to to be critical, right, of a really good player. But like literally, I've just run it and and it's not making money, right? It's losing money. So okay, sure, it's like it's break even. Like he wants to get a big stack. It's C Darwin. Maybe he's shoving wider, but like you know the I don't think he is. I think C Darwin is C Darwin's an incredible player, and I don't think he's going to be shoving too wide here. So yeah, I think I don't think this is a get in. So shout out to you if you said fold. I like it. Raise fold here looks good. I think. Wow. Okay. See a jam and a call. See another jam and a call. Looks fine. Okay, we're down to 8-handed. That was what? It's 22 minutes of 9-handed play. Incredible. 10-4 is a fold. I mean, yeah. I just don't have anything more to say. Like this guy's opening off 15 bigs. He doesn't get to open that wide. He obviously jams a lot of hands, so he does have like somewhat polarized range of hands like this, but then very strong hands. And he might jam some hands in the middle potentially. But like 10-4 off is just going to be such a poor call. Honestly, it's just not going to be good. Evolution Retro Gaming says ekziter would be tagged as volatile on my table. Yeah, I mean, has anyone got him tagged as good reg? Let me know in the chat. So he leads. He loves this lead on these monotone boards. Raising a call looks fine. And we might see a bluff here. I think jamming here would be really nice. I think it really puts a queen in a horrible spot, which a queen could definitely bet flop and check turn. And you got the ace of clubs, so you block a lot of anytime you block the nuts, it's a really nice hand to overbet. But he just goes for the check. Fair enough. Some folds here. Small bet. This should be a call, I think. Maybe even a check raise. But yeah, not folding like ace high. Big blind versus button with some backdoor draws as well. So this looks. Just trying to think like whether or not this is a good double barrel. Yeah, you've got the straight draw. I don't know that you want to be betting it all the time. Like you're gonna bet fold a decent amount. I suppose he's not gonna jam, so that makes me think that he can bet this on the turn more frequently. He does, yeah. Having the 8 of hearts I think is quite nice because he doesn't block. Sorry, it unblocks the kind of hands that will fold, like spades, diamonds, and clubs. Okay, having the 10 of clubs not so good for that, but yeah, I think having the 8 of hearts is a pretty nice hand. So yeah, I think you can do either, but I think bet would be pretty good here. You can get lots of better hands to fold, and you can improve as well. And also, if you do get check raised, you still got enough chips behind to continue. Whereas if you were shorter, and when you bet there's a chance that somebody can jam, then you'd have to, then you would start checking more of these type of hands because you don't get to see the river as often. He checks, and I mean, I guess now he has to go for the bluff. Ace highs, king highs, jack highs. Yeah, I think a hand like jack 10 with a backdoor draw could continue here. Like maybe it bluffs river, so maybe really just trying to target ace highs and king highs. And NL profit folds. Okay. Ooh, fours. Okay, guys, so we see the jam with the fours. two things to look at. Do you think fours is a jam? Just type in 4-4 jam or 4-4 fold in the chat. And then when he does jam, do you think ace-8 off, is that a call or a fold? So ace-8 call, ace-8 fold. Let me know in the chat. I'm going to run this spot right now. Okay, let's take a look. Here's the player who's jamming, and fours is again a losing jam, just like the ace queen suited. Like, it's really, really marginal. Okay, you could take it if you don't think you're going to find any better spots, but I mean, I don't think we want to be taking that. And against that range, you can see that the big blind has to call super, super tight. Ace-8 off, definitely not in there. So well done to you guys who said that 4-4 was close or not a jam, and ace-8 was definitely a fold. Yeah. Daniel P. Harris, what pairs would you shove there? So let's take a look. So fives is really break even, and I think on a tough final table, I think you probably do need to take like sixes plus. Fives probably as well. So you need to draw the line somewhere, and I think, yeah, 2s, 3s, and 4s I would fold. And king 9 suited I would fold, king jack off I would fold, and then probably jam the rest. Having said that, I do think that you could, like, even at 10 big blinds, you get to have a min raising range, right? So a polarized min raising range, or that would consist of hands you wanted to induce with and hands you wanted to raise fold. So for example, you could take aces and kings out of this range. I mean, let's just do that now. Let's say you jam all of these other hands. I'm going to turn my mic off and just run this and then go through something. Okay, so we take aces and kings out because we want to induce with them, right? And then king queen off and king jack off, suddenly we can't jam those at all. Ace 10 off is exactly the same. So we can find our raised folds from this region of hands on the edge of the, that are not, they're suddenly not making money as a jam if you take the top out, and so I think that, if you jammed like 7s plus, some suited broadways, some big ace-x hands from this position, you still got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players to get through, and then min raised these hands, and then min raised hands that block the best hands. So for example, king queen blocks ace king, ace queen, kings and queens that can 3-bet jam. Ace 10 blocks aces and ace king and 10s, stuff like that. And then you got some suited aces up here as well. So I think this is definitely not the perfect way to solve this this jamming spot. You would need to run it in simple preflop hold'em or Munker, and you could then see which hands to min raise and which hands to jam. But sort of just to give you an idea of like what you need to be thinking about in these situations. Like, ordinarily you look at 10 big blinds and you think, okay, it's just an easy jam. But I think that if you run this in a preflop solver, that's more powerful than HRC, you're going to see that you do get to min raise some hands, and then you'll jam the middle. So like, you have a polarized min raise range of hands you want to induce, hands you want to raise fold, and then you jam the hands in the middle. But it's about making sure that once you take these really strong hands out, you're not jamming too many weak hands, like all the way down to 5s and king jack and ace 10, because they suddenly stop making money. Solid open once again gets punished. 3 should just jam. Ace queen suited should just call, I guess. Like, don't think there's too much in this. GGC Darwin. I think we'll see a call here. Maybe a 3-bet if he thinks that NL Profit is opening far too wide. Okay. Now he just folds. So it has to be that he's the one driving the action, and he's the one that wants to choose whether or not he plays with a guy who has lots of chips and covers him, or against players who are not covering him. So I think that's quite interesting. Ace-3 suited, that might be quite close. I think I'd sooner shove ace-3 suited than ace-9 off. I think ace-9 off's a fold, but even ace-3 suited might be a better jam than ace-10 off in that spot. And the reason for that is that when you get it in, obviously you are crushed more often with ace-3. You still lose to ace-king, ace-queen, ace-jack, but I mean the same thing happens with ace-10. But with ace-3 suited, you do have a little bit more equity against pairs. You can still hit an ace. You can still improve to a flush or a straight. And I think, I'm not sure where the threshold is. I mean, I'm not going to run it, but I think suited aces are going to do better than bigger offsuit aces. So for example, let's say ace-8 suited, definitely a jam. Ace-9 off, definitely a fold. On YouTube then, equalizing a spectator, would that spot change much if it wasn't a final table? Yes. So for chips, I think the jam's absolutely fine. 5x again, big old 3-bet size. I would see a jam and maybe a call. Okay, fair enough. This is what this guy was waiting for. He's waiting for the massive hand, but no one else has a hand. Unlucky. So yeah, equalizing a spectator. Yeah, the fours becomes profitable to jam for chips, just not for dollars. Jam and a call here, pretty straightforward. Whoa, what? Did I misread that hand? Did he? Oh, he must have opened. Okay, I was like 35k, 7k. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's a good fold. I thought this was the small blind, this was the big blind, but obviously this is the small blind. That's fine. Raise and a jam and a call. Okay, we'll just do a few more hands, guys, and then I'll wrap things up. There's going to be an ad in a minute. See if we can get past this. And so see a bet and a call. Queen high with a flush draw. Well, let's see what happens. I think... Did he just snap check? Yeah, I think this is a block on the river. Because now this guy can just check back some hands, not as strong as a flush, but hands that if you block here, he has to call with some showdown value hands, not just flushes, right? Whereas now the only time you get money, get paid essentially, or make any money on this river is if this guy bluffs, or occasionally goes for a value bet with a worse flush. Okay, so yeah, let's wrap things up there, guys. I'm going straight to group coaching now. I've got a group study session tonight. As I said, if you want to join the Facebook group, I think some of you already did. I got some notifications coming up on the other screens. So shout out to you guys if you join the Facebook group. And yeah, that's going to wrap things up for this study stream. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back next Wednesday, same time, 6 o'clock, 60 minutes at 6 for more. Make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.